I'm Laura Gilmore, and welcome to the Wild Muskoka Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a spiced maple chaga latte using a wild forage chaga tea and our spiced maple bitters. If you like this wild foraging content or are interested in our wild food products, you can get more information and recipes online at wildmuskoka.com, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. So how to make chaga tea. So I'm going to take one of my little chaga chunks. I need to break this down. So you can see that there's this black dark part on the outside and then this beautiful kind of brown color, rusty color on the inside. So I want to make sure my medicine contains both sections. I just need to break this down a little bit. And so a nice strong mortar and pestle works really well. I have used coffee grinders and different grinders before, but this can actually be pretty hard on machinery. I've definitely broken coffee grinders before. Until I have just about a tablespoon of ground chaga, and then I'll add that to a crock pot or a large pot, about 2 to 3 liters of water to either fill a crock pot or just a nice pot, few liters of water, come to boil. So if I do it in a crock pot, what I really love is these mushrooms are known to, you'll get the most medicine if you get a long, slow decoction. So the longer that they cook, particularly if they can cook for at least 24 hours, then you can get the full extraction of medicinal constituents out of this mushroom. If you don't have a crock pot, you can do it in a stock pot, and then you just need to leave it on low. Maybe you turn it off overnight for safety, or if you have a wood stove, you can put it on a trivet on the wood stove and just let it kind of slowly stay warm overnight. Once it has steeped for 24 hours, you can strain out, just with a metal strainer, the chaga, and what you'll have is the reserved tea. Now, I like to make several liters at a time, because then what I will do is I will put it in the fridge and then I can rewarm this extracted chaga tea. And now we're gonna go on and make the hot version. So our first step was that I heated up our 1 cup of chaga tea. So here in the pot, it's nice and hot. I'm gonna combine all of the other ingredients except for the oat milk. So I'm gonna add our teaspoon of vanilla, teaspoon of maple syrup, 2 droppers of our sarsaparilla cardamom spiced maple bitters, sprinkle of cinnamon, and a sprinkle of nutmeg. And I'm just gonna combine with a whisk to make sure that these are all well mixed. We've got our glass, and I'm gonna add our hot mixture to the glass. And then here I have our oat milk that has been steamed and is nice and bubbly and frothy. And I'm gonna top our latte. And then just to garnish, I'm gonna add a few fresh drops of our spiced maple bitters so you get those nice aromatics when you go to drink, and a little sprinkle of cinnamon and nutmeg. So you can get the spiced maple bitters that I used in this recipe, as well as our other bitters and cool gift box on our website, wildmuskoka.com. If you're interested in learning more about mushrooms, you can attend one of my introduction to mushroom foraging workshops that we run here in Muskoka. And if you're interested in learning more just, wild foraging food content, so please subscribe to this channel. Gonna try our drink. It's so warm and creamy. I wouldn't know that there isn't dairy in this. And I get the nice scent of the bitters and the cinnamon when I take a sip. Chaga tea on its own doesn't do much for me, but paired with the vanilla and those spiced bitters, it's perfect. Chaga is a mushroom that has become really popular over the last number of years, but it's a really interesting fungi with a really unique relationship with the birch trees. It makes it very different than other mushrooms that you'd find fruiting in the forest. It's a wonderful medicinal mushroom, and you can find lots of information about its properties. So lots of different people speak about it. But today I really want to focus on what this is, where you find it, and then how we make the tea, making it a more sustainable way to use this plant. And then we're going to make 2 wonderful variations on a spiced maple chaga latte, so you can use your healthful chaga tea in unique ways. This fungi is a sclerata, so it grows on birch trees. You're only going to find it on birch trees, yellow birch, white birch, in our region here in Muskoka. Sometimes it'll occasionally grow on ironwood, which is actually in the same family as birch trees. But it's really important to know that unlike other mushrooms that have a fruiting body, which is the mushroom that you see, and then a very large organism that's growing either underground or in wood. And so it's kind of akin to like the apple tree, and then the apple, the fruit that grows on it. This is very different. This is a sclerata, so the entire organism is what you see growing on the birch tree. And as chaga has become more popular in the last number of years, people have gone out and harvested it, but if you take too much of the chaga sclerata, you can actually prevent it from being able to grow. And this has to grow on living birch trees, and it's going to grow on the birch tree for quite a long number of years. And then it has to kill the tree. It is a parasite of that tree, so eventually it will kill the tree. And then it takes even a number of years after death before it can potentially reproduce, and it doesn't always. So this is how in places where it's been harvested, being that it's not super common in the landscape and it's very slow to reproduce, people being really excited about harvesting it can lead to it disappearing from the landscape. But it is a really incredible healthful mushroom and something that is really great for the immune system and mind health. So it is something that it grows on my property, grows in our woods. And so it's something I do like to be in relationship with. But one thing to know, if you're interested in working with chaga, or maybe you have chaga and you're watching this video because you want new ways to know how to use it, just know that a little goes a long way. So if I find a chunk like this can be weeks to months of medicine, to wonderful tea. So you don't need to have large chunks like this large one here that came actually off of a tree that needed to be removed for a road that was going in. So I've kept it as a specimen. This would last years and years worth of medicine. Also, just to say that you can also harvest just small chunks. So as long as you're not harvesting more than a third of the sclerata. So I will often go up to a chaga, if I see it on a tree like this and I do need to harvest medicine, I'll try to find like a section that looks like it's almost falling off. Sometimes if you go and visit the trees at the end of winter, the winter winds and storms actually will cause small sections to fall off. And when the snow's melting out, I'll go and visit those trees where I know chaga grows. And sometimes I'll even find little chunks that have recently fallen off and they've been preserved nice and cold in the snow. I take them home, dry them out. And so that's just a little bit on chaga sustainability.